There's a system that runs a large part of the modern world. It powers servers. It supports the internet. It sits behind platforms we use every day, and most people never see it. Not because it's hidden, but because it was never meant to be noticed. This isn't just software. It's something deeper. A system that everything else is built on, and almost no one owns it. We usually think of technology as products, things we install, things we see, things we interact with. Operating systems like Windows and Mac OS feel important because they're visible. They're the interface. But in most systems, the interface is not the most important part. The real power usually sits underneath, hidden, quiet, and rarely noticed. That hidden layer, in many cases, is Linux. It powers servers. It runs cloud infrastructure. It supports websites, platforms, and services. When you open a website, there's a high chance the system behind it is running on Linux, not because it's popular with users, but because it's trusted by systems, and it started in a very different way. Not as a company, not as a billion-dollar idea, but as a personal project. Linus Torvalds created Linux, and instead of keeping control over it, he made it open. Anyone could use it. Anyone could modify it. Anyone could build on top of it. At a time when software was becoming more controlled, this moved in the opposite direction. That decision created a different kind of system, because when something is open, it doesn't grow like a product. It grows like a network. Developers improve it. Companies adapt it. Entire industries begin to rely on it, not because they're forced to, but because it works. And over time, that kind of growth becomes very difficult to compete with. Today, Linux runs a large part of the internet. Most servers rely on it. Cloud platforms are built on it. Even Android, the world's most widely used mobile system, is based on Linux, not because it was marketed better, but because it was more adaptable, more flexible, more reliable in environments where control matters. But the scale goes even deeper. Linux isn't just running servers in the background. It's being customized, embedded, and relied on by entire industries. Technology companies build their infrastructure on top of it. Companies like Google and Amazon run massive cloud systems powered by Linux. Every search, every website, every backend system depends on that layer. Streaming platforms rely on it too. Services like Netflix and YouTube deliver content to millions of people through systems that are largely built on Linux-based infrastructure. Every video you watch travels through servers optimized on top of it, not because it's visible, but because it works at scale. And in financial systems, the requirement is even stricter. Stock exchanges, trading platforms, and banking systems need speed and stability at an extreme level. Organizations like the London Stock Exchange and major global financial systems use customized Linux environments, because even a fraction of a second delay can mean millions lost. And it doesn't stop at the internet. Linux is also built into the real world. Companies like Tesla use Linux inside their vehicles to power internal systems, from infotainment to core software layers. Samsung builds devices that rely on Linux-based operating systems, including the foundation behind Android. And even global chains like McDonald's rely on Linux-based systems behind the scenes, running point-of-sale infrastructure, kiosks, and operational systems across thousands of locations. In all of these cases, Linux isn't used the way an individual would use a computer. It's customized, adapted, integrated directly into systems where reliability matters more than visibility. Because in these environments, failure isn't just inconvenient, it's expensive. And that's why systems like this don't compete in the traditional sense. Because once they're embedded, they're very hard to replace. Most powerful systems are owned, controlled by companies, designed to capture value. And the more important they become, the more tightly they're held. Linux followed a completely different path. It didn't become powerful by being controlled. It became powerful by being available. And that created something unusual. A system that no one owns, but everyone depends on. Linux didn't become powerful by competing for attention. It became powerful by becoming essential, by sitting underneath everything else, by quietly supporting the systems we rely on every day. And over time, what started as something small became something the modern world depends on. Not owned, not controlled, but everywhere. And systems like that don't just exist. They reshape everything built on top of them. And that shift marks the next inflection.